Hello, everyone. It is 1 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I may just be pausing to let some people in if they enter the waiting room, but other than that, I will go ahead and start class today. My name is Allison Evans. I'm the productivity coach here in Medford, Oregon, and I always start class taking a minute to let people share any successes they've had with the systems you guys are using every day. Does anybody have anything they'd like to share about the success systems, anything that's working for you or not working for you? Okay, don't have a lot of talkers in the group, but I will pause as often as I can to give you opportunities to share. If you have any questions, please just uh, go ahead and feel free to ask them. I do talk kind of quickly, so I never mind being interrupted. Let me just let a couple people in here. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about generating your leads. We must find people. Sorry, I'm going to give it a couple minutes. I just have a lot of people jumping in from the waiting room, so I feel like I keep getting interrupted a little bit. So I'll just give it a second. Okay, so today we begin our lead generation segment. We must find people to work with. These people are known as leads, and they fuel your business. They fuel the growth present and in the future, and leads are responsible for growth potential and protect you against marketing shifts. Lead generation plus lead follow-up are going to be our next big segment on the fundamentals of real estate. So here in the lead generation segment, we'll be working on, I'm sorry, another person, sorry about that, keep getting distracted. So yeah, we're going to be working on lead generation basically and growing your database and making sure we're maintaining that. We will just go ahead and by the end of this session, you'll be able to generate business from the people you know and know you, identify your sphere of influence and calculate potential income opportunity, categorize your sphere of influence and expand your reach, and apply best practices of lead generation. To start thinking about what we'll learn today, let's consider what questions we might have and what we'd like to learn more about. So normally if you guys were in person, we'd partner up and kind of have a 5-minute conversation about what you would like to know about lead generation. You can make some notes in your participation guides if you have questions. And as you go through the content today, see if those questions are answered. And if they're not, take the opportunity at the end of class to ask those questions you may have about lead generation. First, let's talk about what you already know about lead generation. My fear of failure was greater than my fear of lead generating. So, does anybody have any thoughts on this quote? I'm not going to pause for long, so feel free to unmute yourself and say anything you'd like during this class. But let's begin today's discussion with mindset. This quote clarifies that lead generation is our number one job, even if there's fear around doing it. It's the activity along with the lead follow-up, which is covered later. It keeps us all from failing and instead allows us to prosper. You never stop lead generating for the rest of your career and business in real estate. Is your fear of failure greater than your fear of lead generation? A lot of people will tell me that making calls or going to talk to people in person is scary or hard for them. And we have to remember that our fear of failure should really overcome any fear you have of building relationships with people. These are the 6 core competencies of a business from the book Shift. If you haven't read that book, I recommend it. It's a great read. So we lead generate, capture, and convert appointments. We present to buyers and sellers and get an agreement. show buyers and market sellers, write and negotiate contracts, coordinate the sale to closing, and manage the money. You first learned about these 6 core competencies in session 2. Lead generation is job number 1. Leads fuel your business, helping you reach the goals you've set for yourself. The more leads you have, the more business and success you can have. Lead generation includes talking to people about buying and selling real estate daily, capturing accurate contact information. This includes name, phone number, email, and home address, and any other information a person is willing to give you. Converting leads to appointments. This is when you find active buyers and sellers, set an appointment to meet, and agree to work together in buying or selling of real estate. In the next 5 days, you'll learn a variety of methods to gain leads. It is understandable that there's a lot of fear around lead generating, even though we know how important what an important aspect of our business it is. Let's be honest with ourselves. Who's having any of these thoughts as we dig into lead generation? So I think lead generation is really difficult. I don't have time to lead generation. I don't have time to lead generate. I don't know what to say, or I'm afraid of making mistakes. I think all of these fears and myths are something we all battle sometimes. But guess what? These are the exact fears that Gary Keller had when he started out the business. And that is you can read about on page 52 in Shift if you do decide to read that book. And this is what he discovered to erase his limited thinking. You can go ahead and jot these down in your participation guide if you like. I think lead generation is really difficult. I was confusing effort with enjoyment. Lead generation is actually easy. It's just not fun. I don't have time to lead generate. The other side of that coin is I had an issue making time to lead generate and protecting that time. I don't know what to say. I had to get on the path of mastering the dialogue skills needed in this business. I'm afraid of making mistakes. I've found that lead generation is nothing more than a set of tasks and skills that are well documented. And finally, he discovered that time on the task over time was the simple secret to his success. So I just wanted to touch base on the dialogue practice part of that and remind everyone that we do have a dialogue practice available Monday through Friday, 8:45 on Zoom. So make sure we're utilizing that link on the calendar if you'd like to practice dialogue to help with your lead generation. Lead generation is the #1 key of being successful in real estate. It doesn't matter how great you are at selling houses. If no one knows you're in the business of selling houses. And if they don't feel connected to you in the way that has them reach out when they're ready to sell, why are you in real estate? I've got great news. You already have 2 components to lead generation, a sphere of influence and a database. Who has heard of sphere of influence by now, and what is it? I'm going to go ahead and just answer this question. I'm sure all of you have heard of sphere of influence being in these classes, and those are the people that are closest to you and will support your business. So everyone can get on their phone and go to their contacts and scroll to the bottom of your contact list, and it should have a number of contacts that you have in your phone. You can figure out your number of contacts, your potential closings from your contacts, and do the math here on the SOI income opportunity that's also in your books. So I do suggest you do that exercise at some point. According to the National Association of Realtors, the typical person moves every 8 years. And according to the 2020 census, the home ownership rate in the US is 64.8%. If we can assume that 64.8% of your database is a homeowner and they will move every 8 years, this means about 8.1% of your database will buy or sell a home every 8 years. Now you can use those numbers to figure out how many people you already know who are going to sell this year. To do this, you multiply the number of your contacts in your database by 0.081 and put the result on line B. Then you can round down so you can be conservative. In the example on the slide, if you know 250 people, then it's likely 20 of them will buy or sell a house this year. Now let's go further. Let's assume that all of the people in your SOI, 10% of them refer you to a client this year. That seems pretty doable. On line C, multiply your number of contacts by 0.1. This is how many referrals you would get if it was just 10% of the people you know that referred to your business. On line D, add line B and C, and you get your potential sales for this year just from your sphere of influence. And it's a pretty conservative number of people they could refer to you. In your example, it would be 45 people. Now let's take the number of home sales by those you know and trust, and then the people they could be referring to you, multiplying by the average commission here. The average commission is, and then we have that line blank so you could fill it in for yourself, and you would enter it on line E. If you want to take it a step further and know how much that can add up to in gross commission, multiply line D by your average commission. So would you guys like to take a few minutes to do that now, or would you like to do that on your own time? You can nod or shake your head, whatever you prefer. Okay. So that's just a tool you can use, and I do suggest everybody go ahead and use that at some point. We won't do it as a group here in class today, but it is good to know your numbers and be familiar with them. We already covered how many people you have in your phone and how many potential sales they represent in the next year. Your contact list is a database. Your social media is another potential database. If we're going to be in a relationship with our contacts in a professional sense, we need to have them organized and accessible in a smart database. Though your phone may be smart, it's unlikely set up as a database yet. Today, we'll touch a bit on feeding your database. In the next session, we will cover how to make your database smart. You have an SOI, a database, and you've been generating leads from the database by communicating with them strategically. How have we already been lead generating in this class, and what tools or systems have we been using? That would be the success systems we're supposed to be doing daily. So if you've been utilizing those, you're already on track. The path to self-mastery takes time. Learning new habits and skills takes time. And so take time to acknowledge the journey you're on and celebrate all the small wins. Now that you've already begun lead generating, you have a database and an SOI. Let's dig into the most important model in your business, the lead generation model. Lead generation, you will hear this over and over and over again throughout your career. It really is the most important activity. It's the first thing you need to know to start your real estate business. And it's the last thing you will give up doing yourself if you decide to start a team and leverage your business to the point that you're no longer involved in the day-to-day running of it. Think about that we are learning today is the foundation for a million, multi-million, and even $1 billion business. This is also why our time each day working those daily success systems along with your peers are so important. This is the lead generation and database model, and it should be in your participation guide. As you've learned, Keller Williams has a model for everything. It makes sense there would be a model for your number one job, lead generation. Though it may look complicated, it's about one thing, relationships. You are in the relationship business. The more relationships you have, the more business you'll have. This model tells us how to get into relationship with people, stay in relationships with them, and be their real estate expert of choice to buy or sell real estate. Lead generation is simply getting people into your database so you can track your relationship with them. As you can see at the top of the model, there are two different activities that can bring leads into your database, prospecting and marketing. You can never have too many leads. A lot of leads or a quantity of leads gives you good quality leads. So you'll want to turn to the prospecting versus marketing page in your guide. It is the best practice to generate leads through a prospecting-based marketing enhanced approach. Prospecting is proactive and direct. You are actively searching for leads. You're prospecting. This is a low cost to no cost method. It yields a quantity of leads per month and year, establishes perfect relationships, keeps you in direct contact in the market of the moment, and increases your confidence and skills. With marketing, you are putting your information out there to attract leads through sources like social media or print ads, radio ads, promotional materials. We'll talk a bit more about this in some of our other sessions. The market, your preferences, your budget, and your goals will usually dictate the types of lead generation you employ. Top agents track their most productive lead sources, which usually include sphere of influence, repeat business, referrals and offline advertising, direct mailing, and yard signs. No single approach or method will bring you all the leads you need to reach your goals. A blended approach works best. No matter your approach, you should always be offering some form of value in exchange for information. That information is what you need to continue your relationships. Also, though you won't rely on a single source for lead generation, you also aren't going to do all of them. The most productive agents focus on their 3 to 5 top producing lead sources. In Ignite, we are going to focus mainly on prospecting because we know successful lead generation is prospecting based. Prospecting is also less expensive, and prospecting is what protects your business when the market is slow. Even more specifically, we'll focus on prospecting with your sphere of influence. Relationship management. As you gather people's information through prospecting or marketing, or have generated the lead, the next step is to put that information into your database. A database is simply a container that holds the information for all your leads you've generated. If you are looking for a cost-efficient tool to build out your smart database, Keller Williams already has you covered with Command. Command is more than a database. With this platform, you have access to interconnected tools to support you from lead to close, also while maintaining your relationships. A smart database provides you with the ability to have a planned, meaningful communication with those in it, which keeps you in a relationship. We can think of your smart database as a data bank because it generates money for you. There's nothing more valuable to your business than your database. We use the terminology of leads and contacts to categorize people in our database. So far in our Success Systems time, you've been communicating with your sphere of influence. People you know and who know you. These people are contacts and whom you have implicit permission to have two-way conversations. Leads are people who have shown interest in the service you offer and have provided you a way to contact them. However, they have not yet engaged in a two-way conversation with you. So that's the difference between the lead and the contact. What are some examples of leads that you can think of? There may be people who follow you on social media, people you have met at an open house, and people in your neighborhood. Our database is organized with these two buckets, leads and contacts, because the way you communicate in each segment will be unique. Once you have a lead, you need to create a relationship with that person. For contacts, you want to sustain and strengthen your relationships. This just is an introduction into what sustaining a relationship looks like, since we have a whole section on lead follow-up later on in Ignite. Sustaining our relationships is what we see in the model as cultivating contacts for conversion. When we say conversion, we mean to move them from a lead to a contact to an appointment. Converting a lead or contact to an appointment means that your client has the intent to buy or sell real estate. Look at the types of lead generation touches in your participation guide: phone call, email, text message, face-to-face, KW app, or handwritten communication. Each time you reach out to the person in your database, that communication is called a touch. A purposefully planned series of touches is called a campaign. A coordinated campaign of touches over time puts you front and center in people's minds when they think of real estate. These touches are how we nurture and strengthen our relationships. Having someone in your database doesn't make them your client. Reaching out to them consistently and systematically with value and deepening your relationship will lead them to choose to be your client. One way to consistently and systematically reach out to your database is a SMART plan and opportunities. These tools provide you with the option to automate your emails, text messages, and even set up notification reminders to call your leads. The final piece of the model is the client and referral loop. Once the lead is converted to contact, they can provide either new or repeat business, or they can provide referrals. Why do you think part of the model is referred to as the loop? This is referred to as the loop because regardless of the business they bring you or how long it takes them to bring you business, they continue to stay in your database. It is your job to continue to build and develop your relationships over time until they are ready to transact again or provide additional referral business. As you nurture your leads and contacts and continue to lead generate for new sources of business, you will either be transacting from new, repeat, and or referral business. The most important thing to remember that lead generation is something that never ends, should be time blocked daily for the best result, determines the size of your business, and essentially it is the how that will help you reach your goals starting this new career. In our last section today, we're going to discuss time blocking for lead generation. Does anybody want to share any ahas at this moment? Okay, moving right along. In previous sessions of Ignite, we've touched upon your sphere of influence. Today, we'll be digging deeper into your sphere of influence and why it is important for your business. Here's a hint. Your SOI is likely to be your biggest source of new and repeat business. But how? Your sphere of influence are the people in your life that you influence and who influence you. These can be close relationships like your friends and family, or more distant connections like your child's friends, parents, a former coworker, a neighbor, or mom's friend from college. It's important to connect with your current SOI systematically, efficiently, and effectively. We are going to get into that a lot over the rest of Ignite. In order to get the most out of the follow-up, you want to get the most out of the people in your sphere. Now let's expand your immediate relationships. One way to expand your SOI is to change how you think about the relationships around you. Let's look at these 15 categories and see if we can expand on the roles or relationships you may have within each. So these are 15 categories that might help you work your sphere of influence and organize them. Just a couple, I'll just go over a couple of the professional services, financial and legal services, personal services, home and auto, real estate services, and other small businesses that you like to support. You can tag all of these in Command so you can keep track of them. As you think of the 15 categories, I'll give you a couple minutes to jot them all down. And then the people that are in your sphere of influence that you don't think are in your phone, try your best to add one person in each category. So I'll give you 2 minutes to kind of brainstorm those 15 categories, and then think about the fact that are they in your phone or not? Do you have all their contact information or not? So I'll give you a couple minutes, take some notes on that so you have something to work on during your success systems today. Okay, so as you look at that list you just made, I hope everyone came up with at least 2 names that maybe they can find the contact info and add to your database today. And then it turns out your state of or your sphere of influence is probably a little bigger than you thought when you really think about the people that you come into contact with daily. The girl you get your coffee from, the person at your daughter's school you wave to every day. Maybe you don't have their contact information, and those are some people you can add and grow your database and your relationships with. Say you're ready to shift your mindset yet again. Who is ready to shift their perspective to build their business? All of you are here, so I'm assuming it's all of you. So great. I want you to think back on your day yesterday. We're going to take a couple minutes to think back on it from the time you got up to the time you went to bed. When you woke up, what did you do? Call your mom, look at the news on your phone, check your email, wake your kids up, grab your new workout clothes, and go for a run. Take yourself through your day and just go through your day as you wake up, shower, send a couple emails, get in the car and drive to get coffee, run an errand, drop off dry cleaning. Just take a minute to think about where you went. Now I want you to look back at your list, your mental list that you just did, and who was interested with or spoke to you during those moments? Who was the first person you interacted with? Did you have a conversation? What did you talk about? Who did you email? Who did you call or who called you? Who did you say hi to at drop off? Did you smile at a barista that you got a coffee order from? Did you say hi to your neighbor while you were walking your dog? Take a minute to think about those moments and write down the people that you interact with. You have identified the activities and people you interacted with in one day. Now I want you to think about those interactions. Could you deepen your relationship with those people? Could you have smiled at the neighbor and politely said, you know, we see each other each day and I don't know your name. I'm Allison. Of course you could. What about those you didn't interact with? Could you have smiled and said good morning to the barista rather than just ordering? You could. It's time to change the way you think about your days. You're not just running errands, you're meeting potential buyers and sellers. You aren't just ordering coffee, you're creating a relationship with the people who help you. And because of that relationship, you may be poised to help them one day to buy or sell real estate. Your job is to meet and connect with people. If you think about it, that's kind of an amazing job. In the next activity, we'll be having a discussion over daily activities. The goal of the next conversation is to help identify places we may interact with. So this activity is a little hard also because we're virtual, but we just went over some places you can identify people to interact with. And then I would, after class, dive deeper into that list of like your day and where you go and who you come into contact with and how you can support their businesses and what they're doing and how they in turn will support your business and what you're doing. Who plans to be a little more intentional with their interactions tomorrow? When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Oh, we're going to go back to the slide here. As you saw in the last exercises and conversations, sometimes all you need to do is think about things from a little different angle and you can achieve more. You found more members of your sphere of influence simply by viewing them as categories of people you know. At KW, we have a coaching program called BOLD that you'll have the opportunity to experience at some point. BOLD stands for Business Objective, a Life by Design. One of the great things about BOLD is that it helps you to create a mindset of abundance and growth. What you did with 15 categories was a simple example of change. You look at those things, so the things you look at change. You changed how you looked at those, and you know you were able to find more people by doing so. Being a successful agent is about finding more people to help serve in buying or selling their homes. When you change how you look at your world, you'll find more of those people that you can help. Just another moment where anybody has any ahas or questions they'd like to share. If not, we'll just keep it moving. We've now talked the lead generation model and why your sphere of influence is one of the most important lead generation sources you may have. We've also talked about just how many people are already in your sphere of influence and expanded it by shifting how we think. Are you ready to expand your sphere of influence even more? A good touch campaign consists of several types of interactions: a face-to-face, email, handwritten note. In order to complete these touches with everyone in your sphere of influence and database, you need to have all their contact information. We would need to fill out information for our contacts. And what type of information do we need? We need phone numbers, email address, physical address, and work addresses. Contact information is important because we want to reach out to them in various ways. A handwritten card makes a big impact, yet it's more expensive and time consuming than an email. A handwritten card may not be the best channel for a lot of information. Imagine mailing an update on the homes that have sold in your sphere of influence's neighborhood versus sending an email. With the email, your sphere of influence has the ability to click the hyperlinks to learn more about the homes in their neighborhood. Not only do you want contact information, you'll also want to gather their personal information. Why do you want to gather their personal information? Because it gives us something to reach out about and helps to know them and their needs better. What type of personal information do we want? It's good to know their birthday, favorite color, where they're from, family status, kids, birthdays, and hobbies. So those are lots of different ways you can reach out to somebody. You can say, if you know their favorite color is blue or purple, you can be like, oh, I saw this blue flower and thought of you. How are you doing? How's business? Oh, my business is going great. Anything I can help you with? All of that begins a conversation and deepens your relationships. If you know it's someone's birthday, you can send a card, give them a call, or shoot them a text. It's the same with other personal information. Knowing they love to crochet allows you to see an article online and share it with them. Knowing they have kids lets you wish them a happy summer or drop off on a rainy day. Drop off a keep busy kit on a rainy day. During the second straight week of rain, when you know they are likely to be super stressed out. Might we also like to know if they're a homeowner or renter? Another way to expand your sphere of influence is to expand what you know so you have more opportunity to connect. Now that we know we would like to get more information about our sphere, how do we do it? You just ask. If you see it's someone's birthday on Facebook, direct message them to ask them their address to send a card. If your neighbor's complaining about low water pressure, ask for their phone number so you can share the contact to your favorite plumber. Call your child's friend's mother that you know likes staying on top of what's going on in the neighborhood and ask for her email address so you can set her up on a monthly nurture email. These touches bring value to your contacts' lives. Another way to expand your sphere is to pull those you have casual relationships into closer proximity. We've already talked about this a bit when we went through our day, and we start to see everyday life tasks and errands as an opportunity to get in relationships or closer relationships with people. Do you usually play games on your phone when you're not cheering on your son or daughter's soccer team? If so, put the phone down and talk to a parent next to you. As we mentioned before, get the name of the barista you see multiple times a week. These folks may or may not be in the market for a home now, but don't forget that 8.1% of people they know maybe. Remember, this is your career. If they buy a house this year, great. If they buy a house next year, great. If they refer business to you and buy multiple times with you over a career, even better. Another great way to expand that SOI is to meet with others that have similar interests and values as yourself. If you love basketball, why not join a neighborhood league? Always wanted to help cleaning up green spaces in your city? Go do it. Real estate is a demanding career, and what career isn't? You're starting a new career. It's important to have a career you enjoy. Go ahead and line your career with your interests and values because those interests and values are what bring you contact with like-minded people who need a place to live. Another great tip to expand your SOI is to wear your Keller Williams name tag and colors proudly. One of the largest mega agents in our company was forced to leave his entire business when a hurricane devastated his area. He and his wife picked up and moved to a place where they knew absolutely no one. They started their lead generation by wearing company shirts to the gym and around town. With their approachable demeanors and smiles, people asked them about their business. This gave them the perfect opportunity to tell people about their business and real estate and help them build a business so large that they now own several market centers. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. You no longer have errands. You now have opportunities to get into a relationship with people and learn how you can help them. Even if it weren't going to make you money, it sounds like a pretty good life. When we discussed the lead generation model, we saw that your business will come from new, repeat, and referral business. Remember, your sphere of influence are those people who know you, your reputation, and your professionalism. They're likely to give you referrals. Like you, they know most of your sphere wants lots of people and have their own spheres of influence, and they want to see you succeed at your real estate business. They're eager to help. You need to be sure your sphere knows that you're a real estate agent and that you want to work with your friends, family, coworkers, and acquaintances. You want to let them know that you would love for them to tell you if they know anyone who's looking to buy or sell. Let's look at some conversation starters to see how easy it is to get referrals. I am building my business on people I know and people they know. Do you know of anyone from a family or friend's work, your neighborhood, or a group you belong to who's thinking of buying or selling a home or investing in real estate? I'd be pleased to be a resource for them. If you hear of someone with a real estate need, will you keep me in mind and let me know right away? Add a referral question to every person you connect with in your daily success systems today. Then add the referral name to your database. You'll have time. Well, you can practice these daily conversations during your success system time today, and also that daily dialogue Monday through Friday at 8:45. Before we move on, are there any questions? Nope. Okay. Now you have a larger and deeper understanding of lead generation, and it's important to your business, so let's put that into action. As you begin your real estate career, there are some best practices that will help you establish a productive lead generation system. The best lead generation program will be one that you'll be consistent with that also delivers leads. Keep track of where your leads are coming from. Audit your lead sources to determine what your top lead sources are. It's best to practice to focus on 3 to 5 of those. Diversify your database. An openness to be a diverse client base opens opportunities. Diversifying your database today brings more leads today and exponential future growth. Diversity is not one thing. For example, race. Diversity is what makes each of us unique. It's about cultural backgrounds, experiences, personalities, and beliefs. It includes race, nationality, gender, physical and mental ability, spiritual and religious beliefs, class, sexual orientation, and more. A diverse database and sphere of influence prepare your business for changes in the market. The broader and more inclusive your client pool, the more ready you'll be for changes, demographic shifts, and new trends in the real estate industry. Be consistent and lead generate every day. Time block your lead generation. There is one additional practice that is time blocking your lead generation time and protecting that time block. This is a really hard one for me. How will you ensure that your lead generation time is a priority? Have you been making your daily success systems a priority? I won't make you guys raise your hands, but for me personally, this is so important to time block those systems and time block that lead generation time, and don't let anything else disturb you while you're in it. Top agents time block lead generation first. Most top agents lead generate for 3 or more hours a day. It's best to schedule your lead generation time, that is, take action on your job one before anything else. Block this time in your calendar is essential. It's important to your business as brushing your teeth every morning is to your health. You've been doing this in your daily success system since the beginning of Ignite, and you'll continue this schedule after Ignite on your entire career. This time consists of several activities: preparing your mindset to success, practicing conversations, preparing a call list in advance, and using that TCPA website to make sure they're all on the call lists, have conversations, maintaining an up-to-date database by putting notes from your conversations, and follow up on any commitments or promises made. Lead generation is hands down, without a doubt, no competition, your number one most important thing to do in order to succeed in this business. Therefore, you must mark off the time to do it and do it well. There are 4 key things you can do to protect your lead generation time block once you set it. 1, build a bunker. Find somewhere to work from that takes you out of the path of disruption and interruption. 2, store provisions. Have supplies, materials, snacks, beverages you need on hand to avoid leaving that space you've created. What provisions will you have in place? Food, water, etc. If I move from my desk when I am lead generating, I've had 4 or 5 different conversations in the office by the time I make it back. So that's why they tell you to prep that stuff. Sweep for minds. This means anything that will distract you or take your focus away from what you're doing, you want to make sure you get rid of that. Whether it means shutting down your email, exiting your internet browser, what will distract you, taking Facebook and Instagram off your phone for a minute, those things can all get in the way of you doing your lead generation. Enlist support. Tell those most likely to seek you out what you're doing so that they can wait until after when your time is available. Who can you use to help you? As we wrap up our learning session and transition into our time for success systems, let's do a quick review. We talked a lot about what you're already doing to lead generate, what you can add to your daily routine, and how important time blocking is for focused lead generation. How is your mindset now? What are your questions or concerns if you have any? What would you say your call of action from today's success sessions will be? Connect with your sphere of influence and ask for additional contact information and make sure you're asking for those referrals. Expand your relationships with casual acquaintances and join a group or utilize a group you're already in to meet new people. Each day at Ignite, you grow in how you think, feel, act, and implement what you've learned. From learning and ahas, you move toward achievement of your big life. And that's what we're here for, to achieve our big goals. So in your participation guide, there's room to write down which areas you've grown in. I just ask that you take some time to do that right after class. Taking time to reflect on what you've learned is important in building your confidence and celebrating your growth. So this activity will be after the learning session, and you can always look back on them. It's kind of interesting if you do this class a year from now to see where you were at today. And so now it's time to move into your success systems. So those are the 20 minutes of role play conversations where you just practice your scripts for how you're going to speak to people. 10 minutes preparing a call list for today. This is another system that top agents use is having a prepared call list for lead generation every day. When I finish my calls for today, I always make a list for the next day. So when I walk into the office for lead generation, I don't have to think about it. It's already right there and I can just pick up the phone and get to work. So 45 minutes spent having conversations and making contact with people, establishing and nurturing valued relationships or getting new relationships, and 30 minutes updating that database so that you are, any conversations you're having, you're tracking, any contacts you're making, any follow-up that needs to be made, you want to be working that database. These activities are daily habits of success, and that's why you should be practicing them every day to get in that rhythm for the rest of your career. There are pages in your participation guide to help you with all of these activities. So moving into your success system, you keep in mind that the purpose to develop the mindset, skills, and tools you'll need to build relationships and secure those appointments with potential buyers. So you want to have 10 conversations with your sphere, 10 new contacts added to your database, 10 handwritten notes, utilize the 10-5-1 model for social media engagement, and you'll keep accomplishing many of these goals during your success system time. Keep doing these activities outside of class time or time together as well. During the final update time, you may also write notes and engage in social media. The first job of a real estate agent is lead generation because the activity of lead generating is the foundation of your business. In addition to practicing conversations and dialogues, you'll prepare your success for appointments, signed agreements, signed contracts, and sales closed. Of course, before we get involved in these conversations with our sphere, we must remember to comply with the TCPA and do not call regulations. So I know we review this every single Ignite session because it is critical. The brokerage does not cover you if you have a lawsuit for the do not call list that is not covered on your E&O insurance. So you want to make sure you're taking that pretty seriously and utilizing the TCPA website to prepare your call list. So I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in a relationship with me. Let's begin by getting that mindset primed for success. We do this affirmation, and then you can do this on your own, but you can, if we were in the same room, I would make everybody say it with me. There are opportunities for role model conversations. We don't do that online, but like I said, that daily dialogue is available Monday through Friday at 8:45, or you could just take 20 minutes to yourself and practice conversations before you start making calls. You will prepare your conversation list. You will have those lead generation conversations for about 45 minutes, ideally, for starting out. And then follow up with your contact updates for about half an hour. Does anybody have any successes they want to share before we get off of the class today? Okay, well, you guys have been a great quiet group, and we kind of just flew through everything. So if you think of a question as you are working all of this, feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call, okay? Have a good day.
Thank you.
No problem.